Hey team, Coach McMillan here. I'm super excited that you have signed up to participate at your first speech and debate tournament. Tournaments are the best part about speech and debate and the time that we get to spend together and competition itself. So I'm really looking forward to your first competition. The design of this video is just to kind of give you an overview of what competitions are like and how you can be well prepared for them from a really practical standpoint. So I have it called How to Be Prepared and Earn Success. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's some of the broad topics we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some things that you specifically can and should do before the tournament. This is the days leading up to it. We'll talk specifically about some things you should do the night before the tournament to be prepared. Then we'll talk about at the meet or at the tournament itself. Then we'll talk about some things after the tournament to make sure you're prepared for the next one. Before we go any further, I want to encourage you, okay? You probably are feeling maybe somewhat nervous right now as you think about your first tournament. That's natural. It'd be kind of weird if you weren't feeling nervous. Everyone involved in this, from the person coming to their first tournament to somebody who is going to their last, is nervous, right? It's natural. You're doing something that's nerve-wracking, standing in front of a group of people that you probably haven't even met before and having to perform at a high level. Naturally, right? You've got adrenaline coursing, all those different things. And that's something those nerves, that adrenaline, that's something that as you get better and as you attend more tournaments and practice and gain more experience, you'll actually be able to channel that energy. You'll be able to channel that adrenaline into energy for your performance, into ways to think quickly and develop arguments quickly and all those different things. It will make you a better performer. Keep in mind that these tournaments are a learning opportunity, right? They're an opportunity for you to step outside of your comfort zone and to challenge yourself. So seize that, okay? Seize that opportunity. Even if you're nervous, right? You can still do this. You can do it. If you're nervous, then do it nervous, okay? And we're all here for you. We're here to support you in that. All right, let's talk about some things that you want to do in the days and weeks leading up to the tournament itself, okay? Your preparation is your most important tool to help you be successful. So let's talk about some preparation things here. First of all, cases and speeches. Are they written, all right? The earlier they're done, the more time you have to actually look over them, to actually make improvements to them. Do not wait until the last minute. That's going to add stress. It's going to reduce the quality of them, and it's going to force you to turn to less quality resources and tools. AI can help to polish things, right? But it's not going to do as good of a job actually writing your case or writing your speech as you yourself, and you can get into trouble with rules and things like that just depending on the actual extent to which you're using those tools, okay? So be careful with that. Also, you want to make sure that your event head has looked over your cases. This is an opportunity for them to catch the big things that can help make those cases better, to help you from making big mistakes. So share them with your event head ahead of time, and the more time you give them to do that, the more likely they are to actually be able to take a good look at it. And then have you practiced? Obviously, if it's a speech event, okay, and it's not impromptu extemp or something like that, then this should be obvious. I shouldn't have to say this, right? That you obviously need to be practicing your speech in order to have it memorized and down and polished. But even for debate, right? Debaters, sometimes we fail to do this, right? We think so much about the rebuttals and all those things that we will have to come up with on the spot that we forget that as a first speaker, especially, you have a huge advantage knowing that your speech is already pre-written for you to actually be able to practice it to be more persuasive. A better speech, a quality speech will be more persuasive and will give you a better chance of winning. Make sure that you and your partners or your teammates, if it's a partner event, obviously, are on the same page. Make sure you've communicated about any changes. Don't throw them any curveballs ahead of time. All right, let's talk about some practical things on more the technology side, and this is in SpeechWire and the NSDA. SpeechWire is the tournament management software. It's what the vast majority of tournaments here in Indiana use to set up the actual tournament itself, to where you're registered for the tournament. It's where the tournament managers, who are the coaches usually of the host school most of the time, are actually pairing competitors with one another for debate, pairing teams against one another. They're setting up sections and all of that for speech and putting you into different groups there. And so for you as a competitor, it's where you're going to, one, see your pairings or where, what room you're going to be competing in, against whom, and what round number and all that stuff. It's also where you're going to review your ballots after the tournament as well. So super important that you activate your SpeechWire account ahead of time. You can activate your account as soon as I have put you in on our team roster, which I usually do before I register you for the actual tournament. So what you will do, you don't go on to SpeechWire and create an account. You simply have to activate the one that has essentially been created for you. Check your email, the one that you provided me when you registered or when you signed up and filled out the sign up form. Check your email, check your spam if you don't see it for an email from SpeechWire Tournament Services that prompts you to activate your account. There'll be a link there. Click on it, activate your account. If it's expired, reach out to me. I'll resend it. And that's all you have to do on the SpeechWire side to make sure that you're ready. But the other thing that you can do, and I recommend you do this, is to subscribe to notifications for the tournament. So let me show you what that looks like. If you go to the SpeechWire website, speechwire.com, you'll see this right here. First of all, during the actual day of the competition, this is where you'll click live.speechwire.com to actually see your postings and all that stuff. But ahead of time, if it's available, if the tournament manager makes it available, you can subscribe. So for example, we're going to Ben Davis at the end, this weekend. When I'm recording this, you can see that they don't have subscriptions or schematics out right now. That's okay. Sometimes they'll put it out like the day of the tournament or something like that. Sometimes they still don't make it publicly available, and that's fine. You'll still receive notifications, but here's a place where you can ensure you do. Here's one where at our CHS Intra-Squad tournament, I'll show you using that. You'd click on subscribe right here. When you click on subscribe, it's going to bring up the different events that are offered. So you find your event. Let's say that you're competing in policy. So you click on policy and click view entries. And then you'd find your entry on here. This is all the people that are entered in the tournament. So let's say that you're either Andrew or Tommy. I have them in class, so I'll pick on them. Click on your name. And then you'll enter your email address and your phone number. I recommend that you enter both, so that way it sends you a text and sends you an email when you've been paired for a round. The more places where you can be contacted or you can see it when you've been when you're in a round, then that's good. The other place you'll always see it is on live.speechwire.com. As long as you've activated your account, then you'll be good to go there. Another place you can check if you feel like you should have been paired for a round but you didn't get a notification is you can click on schematics right here as well. If you click on schematics for the tournament and once again find your event, click view postings, you'll see all the published schematics. So let's say we're getting ready for round 3, you haven't gotten a notification and so you're wondering why. Okay, let's say that you're Tommy or Andrew. Okay, I can see here that we're on a bye. Most of the time you'd still get a notification about that, just by the way. But you can see on that so you know you're not competing. But if you're Arna, you're Amy, or you're Sean, or whoever else, you would see there where you're supposed to be, the room, who your judges are, who your competitors are, which side you're on, all that stuff, okay? So super important stuff, a way to access that information there. Again, if you've subscribed to those notifications, you should get them via text and email as well. Finally, on sort of this side of things is the NSDA. Have you created your NSDA account? You can scan this QR code right here, or you can just go to speechanddebate.org/join. That's the National Speech and Debate Association, NSDA. That's their website. And you'll create an account on there. That way, your points will actually transfer over automatically from SpeechWire to NSDA. Now, it's super important that you use the same email address that's in for SpeechWire when you create your NSDA account, so that way they sync over more seamlessly. If you're not sure which email I have in for you in SpeechWire, then just reach out to me and I can tell you. So go ahead and create your NSDA account now ahead of time, so that way you don't have to worry about it on the day of. And then finally, if you've done all these things, then you're ready to move on to you're ready for everything that you need to do up until the night before the tournament. So let's move on now to the night before checklist. There's certain things that you can only really do the night before, so that's why I have this in here. So let's talk about it. have just like a little checklist to go through here for you. First, read through that tournament information that I've sent to you via Slack. Again, make sure that you're not missing anything. Make sure that you know all the key information you need to know about arrival time and any important information, okay? Next, I would recommend downloading your cases in case there's an issue with the Wi-Fi so that you can access it easily if you can't get onto the Wi-Fi on the tournament day. Charge your laptop overnight, just plug it into charge and bring your charger with you, of course, to the actual tournament itself. And then pack up everything that you'll need for the morning the night before, okay? I do this. Here's the way to think of it. If I were to wake up late tomorrow and I live 15 minutes away from school and the bus leaves in 15 minutes, that I can just get up, throw on my clothes, grab my pre-packed bag that I've already laid out the night before. I can grab my bag that I've pre-packed the night before, and I can head right to school so that I'm not late. Okay, that is. I mean, I'll tell you personally, as a coach, I do that. There have been many times that I've woken up late and had to rush out the door, and having everything packed and ready to go ahead of time has been a lifesaver. Before we get to this, let me show you a resource. Along with this video, I sent you a link to this tournament packing list. I won't go through each thing. I want you to read through it on your own of the different things that you'd want to have. But let me just highlight a few things here. Number one, your laptop. I strongly recommend, if you have any other device, laptop besides your school issued Chromebook, I would bring that instead of your Chromebook. The reason is that the certificates and the permissions that are there on your Chromebook that allow it to connect to our school Wi-Fi at Carmel High School oftentimes make it impossible to connect to other schools' Wi-Fi. Not always. It works some places, but doesn't other places or in other spots. If you have no other option but to use your school issued Chromebook, then I strongly recommend also bringing a device that you can hotspot, so like your phone or something like that, so that you can connect to the internet, download your cases ahead of time so that all you need, like into a PDF, so that all you need to do is the internet for your Chromebook to work to access it, and then you can be good for there. Also, you can always print your cases as well and have them on paper. That's a foolproof method. Always bring your laptop charger, phone charger, extra battery, portable battery if you have it. That's always helpful. Water bottle so you can stay hydrated throughout the day. Make sure to bring cash for concessions and lunch at the vast majority of tournaments that we'll go to. A couple of exceptions. For example, I know that Ben Davis, for example, is a cashless site, so you don't have to bring cash for that. Bring a card instead. But most places will want you to bring cash. $1, $5, $10 small bills is helpful. Those concession stands at tournaments are oftentimes cash only, so make sure you have that cash. Selling concessions, snacks throughout the day, and lunch is really the only way that tournaments have to cover the costs of hosting a tournament. It takes a ton of work, and it can be expensive to actually run a tournament. And these schools are gracious enough to open their doors to us in order for this activity to continue and for it to be generally free for you as a competitor. Most states around the country charge competitors and schools entry fees to compete at these tournaments in order to cover the costs. Here in Indiana, that's not really the culture. We want to make sure it's available for everyone, which is an awesome thing. But in order to make sure that it's sustainable, just your few dollars here and there at those concession stands makes a difference. So for that reason, you're not allowed to use any sort of food delivery service like Uber Eats or Grubhub or anything like that. The other reason for that, by the way, is security. This is something that we're trying to be better about and beef up this year to keep our students safe. Okay, and in order to do that, keeping the exterior doors to the school locked and not allowing anybody who's not, doesn't have to be there, like food delivery people and things like that, preventing them and anybody from being able, who's not supposed to be there, from accessing the building. Is a huge point of emphasis for us this year. And so again, not using those food delivery services is a big part of that. Some tournaments even say that you can be disqualified from the competition from doing that. So don't do it, okay? If you have very specific dietary restrictions, then bring food with you that you'll be able to eat in case the tournament doesn't have food that you'd be able to eat. You can also bring cash or debit card for a dinner meal. If we're on more than an hour away from CHS, then we'll stop on the way home for that. Lay out those clothes the night before. nicest things that you have, okay? So suit, pantsuit, other professional attire if you have it. This doesn't mean go out and buy a suit if you don't have one and don't have the means, okay? This just means look as nice as you can, look professional. That'll be huge. Make sure you're wearing comfortable dress shoes, so shoes that look nice but are also comfortable since you'll be walking around on your feet a lot and all that stuff. Make sure to bring a coat if it's one of the colder months, right? We'll be standing outside waiting for the bus. The bus itself is probably going to be cold before it warms up, so make sure you have a coat. And then some event-specific things that you want to make sure that you have. Last thing, change of clothes, shoes if you want. This is optional for the ride home, okay? Just make sure that you do not change prior to awards. Stay in your professional competition clothes for the awards ceremony and for the team photo and all of those things. All right, so read the tournament information, save your cases ahead of time, charge your laptop overnight, and make sure you pack everything up and have it ready to go the night before. Finally, make sure you get some sleep. This ties back to the preparation, right? If you're ready to go, if your case is done, your speech, you're well practiced and all of those different things, then, and you didn't procrastinate, then you have a leg up in that you don't have to stay up late the night before the tournament, which is usually, again, a very early morning. If you try to stay up late, you're not going to get any sleep at all. And your mind, your brain is not going to function at its best. You've done all that you can to prepare if you've been following these steps. Be at your best by getting good rest, okay? The best preparation you can do is to get good rest, so make sure that you're getting good sleep and all those things. All right, now it's time to talk about the rubber meeting the road, right? At the actual tournament itself, what it is that you're actually going to do at the tournament. First of all, make sure that you arrive at CHS on time or early. The time that I put there in the tournament information, that time is the time that we want the bus to be pulling out of the parking lot. So make sure that you're arriving a good 10 to 15 minutes prior to that time and check in either with me or with Arian or whoever is checking folks in on that day. On the actual bus ride itself, you can relax, right? You can just talk with your teammates. You can go back to sleep if you want, talk about your cases or your speech, or just talk about whatever you want to relax and get your mind right, okay? That's an opportunity for you to do that. Once we arrive at the tournament site, you want to get everything set up. Log into the Wi-Fi, which I'll provide for you as soon as I have it. Pull up your cases. Pull up SpeechWire at live.speechwire.com so you can see when your pairings are out. Study the school map. I'll distribute those so that you can take a picture of it and share it around. Just get a general sense of the building and what it looks like so that you can head straight to your room once you actually get that first posting. So you see that there. When postings are out, head straight to your first round. Get there as soon as possible. Don't make the judges and competitors wait on you. There's a psychological advantage, too, I think, of being there first. When your opponents arrive, it just makes you look a little bit more prepared. Obviously, don't let it get to you if they're there first. It doesn't matter, right? But it's just a little bit of an edge that you can have there. One thing I'll note on this, most tournaments say to not enter the room, you as a competitor, to not enter the room until the judge arrives. Okay, so check to make sure that the judge is there. If they're already in the room, you can ask if they're your judge for that upcoming round and ask if you can enter the room. Most of the time they'll say yes, but don't go in until the judge arrives. That's another thing that sometimes you could actually be disqualified for if you don't follow that. So make sure you're doing that. Remember to eat and stay hydrated throughout the day, okay? Fuel up, drink water, take opportunities that you have to eat between rounds and to stay fueled up there. Most of the time, right, tournament managers try to make sure that you have a specific lunch time, like kind of scheduled between rounds, so pay attention to where it makes sense for that time to be. But if things get shifted around with the schedule, as tournaments are running behind or something like that, that time that you have might shrink. So you got to make sure that you're eating and staying hydrated when you have the opportunity to. Now, at the end of the day, after you're finished competing, We'll wait for tabulation to finish, determine who the winners are in each event, and then we will head to awards. So stick together with the team there so that we can all sit together and at the award ceremony, cheer on your teammates, cheer and applaud for, be a good sport, cheer and applaud for your opponents and all of that as well. Immediately after, let me go back. Immediately after the awards ceremony, we'll take a team photo with our ribbons and trophies and all that stuff. Then I'll usually give you about 15 minutes to, if you want to change into travel clothes or if you want to just use the restroom and things like that, about 15 minutes to do those things. So then we can quickly then get loaded back up onto the bus, stop for dinner on the way home if we're over an hour away from CHS, and get back at a reasonable hour. These are long days, okay? I want to get you back at a reasonable time so that you can rest. Please remember, okay, with everything while you're at the meet, on the bus, all that stuff, you represent Carmel, our city, Carmel High School, our speech and debate team, your event, and yourself at all times. You never want to say or do anything that would harm your reputation or the reputation of our team. We don't badmouth our opponents or judges or anything like that. Not only is that, reveal some questionable character, but it can also come back to bite you if somebody overhears that. Right? And that can happen. And it has happened, very unfortunately, to folks. Thankfully, not often on our team. But it has happened to others, and it has happened occasionally. So you want to watch out for those things. Make sure that your reputation, you're building a good one. All right, finally, let's talk about some things that you can do after the tournament. Some things that you want to do. First is reading through your ballots and noting common themes that you see there, the feedback that you receive. The quality of judging and the experience of the judge that you have is going to vary. There will be times where you see something on a ballot that you, as far as feedback or reason for decision, that you feel like, we definitely won that point, right? Or I definitely did that thing that they said I should do. Let me encourage you. That's going to happen, okay? So let me encourage you that this, as a subjective activity, it's never going to be perfect, right? Those sorts of things are going to happen, and they're going to be frustrating. So sit in that for a moment, but rather than letting that frustration discourage you, take what you can from that feedback and apply it, okay? A judge is always going to vote for, let's say on debate, is always going to vote for the team that they found to be the most persuasive. It's a subjective measure, but that's what they're going to do. The same thing's true for speech, right? They're going to rank you where they believe, again, subjectively, you fell in comparison to other competitors. So regardless of whether you agree with them or disagree with their conclusions, what they're communicating to you with that feedback is that you, if they didn't catch something or they're looking for something that you didn't do, that you didn't emphasize that enough for them to catch it. So let that inform your decisions going forward, analyze and adjust, and make improvements. Take every opportunity to get better, both feedback that you consider super valuable or not. Analyze your flows, organize, save those, share them with your event heads so they can have a sense of what other teams are running and things like that. That can help you and your teammates to be better prepared for future tournaments. And then review your cases. This is obviously for, or your speech for speeches, or your speech for speech. Look at areas of strength and weakness. Were there contentions that you won almost every time and that your opponents had a hard time refuting? That's a good contention. You'll want to keep that and beef it up. If there's a contention that you lost almost every round and that your opponents easily refuted, then that's something to analyze, right? If you're going to be running that case again, then you probably want to, well, first of all, analyze why it's not as strong as it needs to be. Where did it fall, right? And then second, if it's a case that you're using again at another tournament, this is an opportunity for you to improve your case by maybe tweaking that or getting rid of that contention entirely and replacing it with something stronger. So analyze those areas of strength and weakness. And then finally, take a deep breath. Relax and enjoy the accomplishment. Where you placed or your record ultimately, like I said, this is a subjective activity. So those things really don't matter as much as what you got out of the activity and what you learned, right? You should be proud of yourself, whether you went 4-0 or whether you went 0-4, whether you were ranked first in every round or last in every round. You should be proud of yourself for stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing something hard, and making it through it, right? So relax, enjoy your Sunday, look forward to the next practice, the next meet, and come ready to hit the ground running then. Thank you so much for watching this video, taking the time to do that. I hope that it's helpful for you to know what to expect and to be well prepared. I promise you, if you follow the advice in this video, you will have a leg up over your competition, which is what you should always be striving for. If you have any questions at all, easiest thing is to DM me on Slack at Coach McMillan. You can also email me at pmcmilla@ccs.k12.in.us. You can find lots of helpful resources at carmelspeechanddebate.com. We're here for you, okay? We want to help you succeed. Our veterans, me, our other coaches, we want you to succeed. So reach out if you need anything at all. I'm super excited for this season and all that we're going to accomplish, all the ways that you're going to grow and improve, and the memories that we're going to make together as a team. So I can't wait. I will see you on Saturday.